here to talk about my reread of The Ghost by Robert Harris. This is a 2006 suspense novel. I saw on some Goodreads reviews people were mad. They were like, this is the most boring thriller ever. I'm like, it's not really a thriller. There's like a slight difference. This is more like suspense. I read the book originally shortly after the movie came out in 2010. I saw the movie first. This was back when we used to get our discs from Netflix in the mail. So, and I would have had 3 kids under the age of 5. So and we'll get to why I'm explaining that in a little bit when we talk about the movie some. But, so I watched the movie, really liked it, because I'll watch anything that has Ewan McGregor in it. And wanted to read the book, and read it, and I remember really liking the book. And I've wanted to reread it for a long time, and I got it as a gift from my in-laws for my birthday. So for me, it's a page turner, but I understand why for some it would seem kind of dull. So let me set the story. It's told from the point of view of an unnamed narrator, a ghostwriter. They just refer to him as the Ghost because, haha, nobody can ever remember his name, so they just, hey man, or ghost. You know, it's very Rebecca, right? Like by Daphne du Maurier, where like the main character doesn't have a name except in association to other people. So yeah, he's got no name. I assume he has a name, but no one ever uses it. He doesn't introduce himself. He is hired to finish a political memoir of an ex-prime minister of Great Britain, Adam Lang, who is very Tony Blair coded, because all of this, since the book came out in 2006, is very war on terror, political, we're allied with America to fight, in the Middle East kind of stuff. The previous ghostwriter died. They were like, oh, he was depressed, he committed suicide, he drowned in Nantucket Bay, I want to say. It was Martha's Vineyard, so it wouldn't be Nantucket Bay, right? Because Nantucket's something else. But, basically, the ex-prime minister, his wife, and I guess his political kind of cohort have been holed up on Martha's Vineyard in like January because nobody's there, and they need to sit down and finish this book because they're contractually obligated, and the deadline is coming, and the guy who was writing it, who'd been working on it for over a year, is suddenly dead. And so the main character of this book, they give him a ton of money to go do this job. Just finish it up, finish it fast. We'll give you the existing manuscript and you can tidy it up and get it ready for publication. Well, he gets to Martha's Vineyard. The existing manuscript is terrible. He's like, oh my god, I don't know how I'm going to finish this. And then the political machinations begin. Adam Lang he's accused of war crimes in the Hague, and suddenly he's not even sure he can ever go back to Britain because they might extradite him, and and it's all about the war on terror and having tortured prisoners and this kind of thing. And as the ghostwriter guy is trying to finish this book, he's uncovering stuff, and it goes from there. Now, as a writer, I obviously sympathize with this guy, and because I'm picturing him as Ewan McGregor too, because that's who played him in the movie, for me, this is a page turner, but I understand why some people would be like, well, this is kind of boring. He's just kind of wandering around and like, and I'm just saying it might not be for everybody. Robert Harris also wrote Conclave, which is the novel that the current movie was based on, that some people are, giving awards buzz to. That's a great movie, and now I kind of want to read the book for that as well. I will say I gave this a 4.7, not quite a 5, and the reason for that is the ending is kind of abrupt, and then there's kind of a non-ending denouement of sorts. It's still, for me, a really good read. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not, I won't spoil it. Or if I do start getting into spoilers, I'll put my little spoiler warning up, and you can fast forward for as long as it's on the screen. But, well, okay, I will tell you. So here goes the spoiler warning. Fast forward till it's gone if you don't want to know. By the end of the book, the ghostwriter has found out that Adam Lang may be associated with the CIA. He's actually been kind of in collusion with the CIA. His whole political career may have been like orchestrated by the CIA, and he's actually kind of caught between Adam Lang and the guy accusing him, a guy named Richard Reichart, who is the guy who's kind of brought the charges against him in the International Criminal Court. And they're flying from New York back to Martha's Vineyard, and they get off the plane, and Adam Lang goes to greet a guy who's waiting on the tarmac, and there's an explosion, and Adam Lang dies, and the suicide bomber dies, and it just kind of literally blows up, right? And then, like, our ghostwriter kind of feels like he's out of danger because the whole reason he was in danger is kind of gone, until he figures out there was a clue in that manuscript that was left behind by the previous ghostwriter, a physical clue, and that's, and he decodes it, so to speak, and makes a bigger realization. But this all happens in like the last 20-30 pages of the book, and he ends up just kind of going on the run and saying, I'm gonna leave this manuscript with my ex-girlfriend. She'll make sure it reaches the public if anything happens to me. So you're supposed to, I guess, assume that something happened to him, that he's dead or something, and she has managed to get this book published. So the ending just feels kind of abrupt and kind of a non-ending, I guess. I don't know. I still really enjoy it. I remember from the movie the whole decoding from the manuscript part, and even knowing that when rereading it. Well, and when I knew it when I read it the first time because I'd seen the movie first. I still really enjoyed it. So let's talk about the movie. I saw the movie, like I said, from Netflix. It came out. I would have had 3 kids under the age of 5 at that point, and wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to broader things. So when I went to revisit, to refresh my memory, I didn't rewatch the movie, but I went to remind myself of a little bit, like, oh, was it Pierce Brosnan? Yes, it is. Pierce Brosnan plays Adam Lang. And I saw that the movie was directed by Roman Polanski. And I was like, oh. And, everybody has to kind of decide for themselves where the line is, right? This is a personal decision on whether or not you're going to watch films by certain filmmakers, Woody Allen movies, Roman Polanski movies. Like, I'm never going to tell you you should or shouldn't watch something, or even like something, regardless of who made it. I liked The Ghostwriter. Would I watch it again? I don't know. If I did, I would feel very weird about it. And I read that Robert Harris is actually a good friend of Roman Polanski's, and I was like, oh, or he was. I mean, I guess he worked on a couple of movies with him back in the 2010, ish era. And, you know, you kind of squint a little when you see that too. But yeah, so I remember I originally had said, oh, Dominic Noble should maybe do a, you know, adaptation video, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to suggest he should go watch a Roman Polanski movie if he doesn't want to do that. So as cool as it would be, you know, I could definitely understand if somebody had reservations about sitting down and watching the film. Or if it extended to being like, well, then I don't necessarily want to read Robert Harris books. Yeah, I mean, I you know, again, it's a very personal decision, like where you draw the line in consumption. Like, some people refuse to shop at Amazon. Some people feel like they kind of have no choice in the matter in some way. You know, like, everybody's kind of got a personal metric for that. And I don't believe in telling people what they should and shouldn't do, because it's a personal comfort level. So, yeah, I started out loving the movie, and it made me want to read the book, and I've read the book twice now, and I really like the book, and I remember really liking the movie, but I don't know if I would watch the movie again, no matter how much I love Ewan McGregor. Yeah, I don't know. I would feel weird the whole time, because the whole time I was watching, I'd just be like, oh, but it's Roman Polanski. And I mean, I feel that way when I see a Woody Allen movie. Did I like Midnight in Paris? Yes. But I don't know that I would watch it again. So yeah, you know, I had to watch a lot of Woody Allen in film school, so I probably have more than met my quota of that. I didn't even like Annie Hall. People, oh, that's the best movie. I don't think so. Anyway, that's beside the point. So, if you've read The Ghost, or seen The Ghostwriter, or if you've read Conclave or seen Conclave, or any other Robert Harris, I think Pompeii was another big one that was like, they have like one of these cute little pages in the back of the book that has like all of his books on it. And I'm trying to think if I read any of these other ones. I read Pompeii. Oh, and he wrote Munich. Remember that movie? That was a good movie. So yeah, I mean, he writes some pretty good, very cinematic, I guess, kinds of things. I went through a phase where I was reading all these kinds of books. I was reading, you know, Tom Clancy and a lot of Michael Crichton and just that kind of thing. I went through like a phase in middle school. Yeah, I went through a phase where I was reading all that kind of thing, and so this very much falls into that category for me. But anyway, I've rattled on long enough. Let me know your thoughts if you want to tell me like where you draw the line when it comes to reading a book, watching a movie. I'd be interested to hear. Again, I'm never going to tell somebody what they should and shouldn't do. I don't believe in that, because it's just, you know, in the same way that religion is a very personal decision, I feel like, you know, consumption of media is also a very personal decision. You know, I don't watch gore, and, you know, I don't read extreme horror, and that's just, I know where my limits are, and that's me, but I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't if you like that kind of thing. So, you know, you do you, as they say. And until next time, sorry, a bird just flew by. Until next time, take care.